Hello and welcome back to Rebooking to Mastery, a podcast where I, a 22-year-old, tries to break down some knowledge that I've accumulated through books throughout these last few years. And so, the book, if you remember from my last episode that we were talking about, is The 33 Strategies of War. A book by my all-time favorite author, Robert Greene, who has written a lot of other books that are similar and address different parts of the true nature of the world and life around us. And if you remember from last time, I spoke about the idea that regardless of how we want to perceive the world, it is important to acknowledge that a lot of people are strategic and a lot of people can manipulate and have manipulated in order to get their aims. And it's important to be aware of that, to allow yourself to not end up with the short end of the stick. And so the first thing I'm going to go into is the 6 fundamental ideals to become a strategic warrior, presented by Robert Greene. So it's important to first look at things as they are, not how your emotions color them. If you remember from the obstacle is the way, a lot of this idea revolves around the objective reality, not the subjective interpretation that we'd like it to be. And in that idea is the idea of the emotional pull. Remember that any emotion will pull you to make a decision, to choose something, to impulse yourself, to make an impulsive decision rather. And remember that this pull is inevitable. It's going to happen. It may happen when you're in a very, very tired or weak mental state, but it will happen. It may happen when you're strong as well. But it's important that this pull must be compensated for. The idea of the objective reality, the idea of looking at things as the way they are, is to understand and realize that we have a lot of preconceptions and biases and different things that will cause us to or will color our view of looking at a certain event or a certain person or a certain situation. And it's important to look at the things as they are, not what we'd like them to be, or not how our emotions would like them to be. Second one is judge people by their actions. A lot of people, they like making grandiose claims. They like selling you with words. They like illustrating to you that I am this person that can do this. I have all this potential and I'd like to do this, and I'm going to do this. And a lot of people, and Robert Greene talks a lot about this in the book and in other books as well, will make this kind of ploy, will make this kind of claim, will say something so grand when they're hiding the exact opposite within themselves. It's important to judge people by the results of their actions, by the measurable things that you can see that they have done, the maneuvers and manipulations they have done for power, not the words they claim, not the ethicality that they claim to uphold, not the morality that they claim defines them, not anything wishy-washy that can be sold to you by word of mouth. Because those, more often than not, are not only incorrect or lies, but often hide the exact opposite. Deeds, actions, do not lie. This just applies not only for other people, but for yourself. It's bad strategy for you to blather out all the stuff you plan to do in of itself. It's bad strategy for you to lay claims to all this, because not only does your word not have as much merit and value, but your actions will lose power inherently themselves when you release this energy out to the world. And the third fact of six fundamental ideals to become a strategic warrior is depend on your own arms, depend on your own self. Remember, true strategy can be psychological. Arm yourself with this art of war. Arm yourself with this ability to not only identify when people make these kinds of strategies of war, but if it comes to it, be ready to use your own encounter for it. True strategy isn't a sense of brute force. The word strategy itself is more mental in nature. And as you go on through these episodes, we'll understand how this kind of depending on your own arms is important. Because to conquer in quotes, those that you need to conquer your own mind. You need to conquer your own arms first before you can wage war against other people's arms. And you must arm yourself with this said art of war, these strategies, this ideology, this winning without bloodshed. And you must confront this necessity for it and embrace it for you to have success in whichever ventures you choose to embark upon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Rebooking to Mastery. If you'd like to follow me on all platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, at Rebooking to Mastery. And if you like this content, feel free to drop me a follow on whichever platform you're listening to. And see you guys next time for the continuation of the 33 Strategies of War.